thought it would be a good idea to explain what's going on here before I get too much further and the control box starts to look like a rat's nest. So this is just a standard project box that you can get at Radio Shack. I'm actually, this is an old box that I'm upgrading. You notice this slot here, I just cut this out with a hacksaw. It lets me put my wires through there. So what I got going on here is you can see the Arduino, and what I did is these wires go to the voltage header, and I jumpered the positive to the input of this 3.3 volt regulator. So I'm connected to the 5 volt side. So these are going to go to some ring terminals, and so all my 5 volts will be tied together with ring terminals, and all my grounds will be tied together with ring terminals. And then that's how I'm gonna have a 5 volt power supply. So everything's gonna run 5 volts, and that's how I'm getting power to the Arduino. These 3 boards are my relay boards. They control my 3 pumps. So in one project box, one Arduino will control 3 pumps, which will water 6 plants, and each plant will get a moisture sensor. So you can see here is right here is the analog. I'm pointing with my middle finger, is the analog sensors. It's got 6 pins, so that's really our limiting factor here. That's why we chose that. So 6 there. That's the sensor board that's going to read the soil moisture sensor. That's going to go right here. So those wires will be routed around here, and they'll plug in here. Each of these controller boards, like I said, they're identical. So there's a terminal header, and that's where the pump is going to plug in. And when the Arduino sends a voltage signal to the board, so let's just look at this one. So you got the red's 5 volts, the brown is ground, and this yellow is the signal. So that's going to plug in. Let's see, where's it going to plug in? It's going to plug in on pin 7. I'm not really ready to plug it in yet, but when that voltage goes, when that pin goes high, this transistor right here will turn on and allow power to flow through this 5 volt relay, which will then close the contact, which will then short out this header, and this is where one of the wires on the pump will connect, and that will turn the pump on. And then once the signal on the yellow goes low, the transistor goes into a closed state, which turns off the relay, which opens the contact, which turns the pump off. So that's how it works. There's three leads to this power ground signal, and then it's composed of header terminal, 5 volt relay, 2N2222 NPN BJT transistor, and then it's got a 10 kilo ohm resistor from the base of the transistor to ground, so that if this wire is not connected to anything, it will naturally ground out the transistor and keep everything turned off. That's a safety thing. And then a 1 kilo ohm resistor in series with this wire. And what that does is it prevents too much current from flowing from the Arduino into this, and it's more than enough to keep it running. So 2 resistors, 1 transistor, the relay, and the headers. That's all that makes up this circuit. And like I said, all the powers and grounds are going to go to automotive ring terminals, and they'll all be tied together, and that keeps each one of these modular. So if I have a problem with my relay board, I can just take this circuit board out and replace it without having to touch anything else in the control box. And that's the reason I do that. I use really simple, common components that you can find either at Radio Shack or a hardware store, and I keep all of my circuits isolated and modularized so that they're almost like Legos. You know, I can reconfigure this easily. If something breaks, I can just fix the section of the circuit that is broken and replace that. So that's kind of what's going on here. It's going to turn into a huge rat nest from here on out once I actually start filling all the wires in and connecting everything. But this is the basic guts of the water control. So yeah, you'll see kind of how this evolves.